Hey everyone, and thanks for stopping by to this video where I'll do another figure unboxing, and this time it's going to be of the Avengers Endgame Iron Man Mk-85 Final Battle Edition figure. So last year we had an Iron Man Mk-85, looks pretty much the same as this, but it's not, and that one is different, this one is different in the sense that this has cosmetic damage, kind of look like it's got a bit of battle damage on it, plus it has different parts with it, and of course it has a Tony Stark head sculpt, which the previous version did not come with. So in this video, I'll go through a full unboxing, including the packaging, which I'll show you in more detail, plus the figure, the parts, and my overall impressions of it. If you like this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and let's get on with the unboxing. So starting with the packaging then, here is the Avengers Endgame Final Battle Edition new look. So the previous Endgame figures had a white theme to them. This one's got a bit more of that blue space looking theme, which I think looks very cool. You got the artwork of Iron Man here, nice big window display of the figure with the Tony Stark head sculpt. Got the holographic sticker right there as well. But overall, this packaging is pretty cool. The text here, by the way, is a gold foil, so hopefully you guys can kind of see that. It's very cool. Overall, this front packaging is very nice and slick. I do quite like this. There's a campaign going on for Disney Deluxe. I'm not quite sure what that is, but there's a sticker there in case you want to make sure that you've got a first edition or something. On the side then you got another picture of Iron Man with one of his extra weapons. Again, gold foil writing at the bottom there. On the reverse side, more gold foil writing. They've really like the gold foil writing on this figure. This packaging is very nice, like I said. And then more photos, of course, of the figure itself. So this one doesn't look so great personally, but we'll take a closer look at the actual head sculpt. But in general, yeah, this figure packaging is pretty good. More photos of him there. Gold foil, gold foil, gold foil even at the bottom. You know what? I'd have to say this is probably one of the nicest packaging for an S.H.Figuarts figure in a while, especially for a general release figure. So yeah, I quite like this. I believe Captain America is going to have a very similar packaging. That's on its way to me right now. So that's the packaging. I'm going to get this thing open, go through the figure and all of that good stuff. Okay, so here's the Mk-85 Final Battle Edition out of the box. And before I get into that, with the packaging again, inside with the backing card is a gold piece of card as well. So if you remember with the Infinity War, it was a silver card. This new packaging has that gold card, which kind of rounds out the whole packaging quite nicely, I feel. And then also within this packaging is the Disney Deluxe leaflet. So it might just be a first print kind of thing, maybe not. But if you guys want to use that code, go ahead and use it. I guess this is just the Japanese equivalent of Disney Plus. So onto the figure. Here you can kind of see everything that he comes with, which is a fair bit in terms of effect pieces, and then the usual kind of hands that you get with the majority of Iron Man figures. So I'm going to go through everything bit by bit. Let's start with the right side. So this is the main difference for this figure and compared to other Iron Man figures. So this is his repulsor, ray, refractor, refocuser. It's named in the sheet actually, so it's called the Nano Refocuser, not Nano Lightning Refocuser right here. It shows you how to use it. So this is something that's actually pre-attached to him anyway, but I've taken it off just to kind of give you a closer look at it. And what I've done as well is I've attached the effect parts as well, because that can be a little bit tricky. So I've done half of them to show you that right now, and then I'll show you these later on as well. So this just attaches to the back side of Iron Man, of this figure, and actually this can apply to the Iron Man Mk-85 that came out last year as well, and it doesn't even look that bad with it. So you can see the color here. It's actually not got like the darker tone that the figure has. It's got more of the brighter red that the original Mk-85 has, probably because this is usually hidden inside him, so it's not going to get dirty or anything. That's my logic for it anyway. But this is what this looks like, and it looks pretty cool when it's attached to him, which I'll show you soon as well. And these arms, by the way, do move a little bit. So that one here, and then finally this one. So you can reposition them slightly, and then hopefully that can kind of give you a cool pose depending on his arm positions as well. So there's that, and I'll show you how to do the extra parts, which is this in a moment. So this comes in sets. So you've got one for the top, the middle, and then the bottom one, and you can't mix them up. So it's got like a thick peg here, and then it thins out, and then there's one for the other one, and then this is what this looks like, and it's pretty cool. It's nice and sturdy, real nice coloring to it as well. Similarly for the midsection, same sort of style, and then for the bottom arm, you could say, is a single one. So it's quite cool overall. Then the other difference with this figure that the other Iron Man figures have not had, especially the Mk-85 that came out last year, is his energy blade. So this is very nice, I think. I mean, you might get nicer looking ones from third-party sellers and makers, but you know what? I'm not talking about that right now. So this is very nice, cool. blue coloring going on with the same, red and silver that the Iron Man suit has as well. And then this has a pre-attached right hand to it, so you can't change the hand with this, sadly, but it's still very, very cool. It does move a little bit, so don't get too rough with it so you don't snap it or anything. But this, I do like this. That's the hand. So these little 3 pieces here, actually going back to the refocuser here, that's actually for the bits that I've taken off, which has the energy parts in them. And again, I'll talk about that more in more detail in just a moment. Going on to his hands, so you got the fists, of course, that apply to him. Then you got the slightly opened hands right here, and this, of course, uses the same sort of mold and sculpt as the Iron Man Mk-85 last time, but now with a darker, I would say a Dr. Pepper kind of tone overall with the reds. You can see the ribbing on the top part of the hand, and then on the underside you see a bit more detail. Then he comes with even more relaxed hands. So lately Iron Man tends to come with these 2 sets of hands. He didn't always come with these. Sometimes it was just this one or the other one, but now, well, I guess he's coming with both. Same detail on those. Then you get the pair that have the peg attached to them. So on the other side, one side is the same. This side you can see the peg. So what you do is you attach the effect part to it, which I'll show you just a second. And then his final pair of hands is the straight karate chopping hands. Like so, it's no peg, just the same sort of detail, but pretty good. Then another difference with this figure in terms of parts is his shield. So this is one large piece of plastic, translucent plastic. Is quite nice, I think, and it's got a very bluish, purplish hue to it as well. So it looks pretty good from the front side. And then on the back side, this is for his right hand. So again, just like the blade, it's only for the other. But I guess you could get away by putting this on the other hand. But just because of the way this is shaped, it might not sit flush with his left hand. But you can give it a shot anyway. But it's a nice shield overall and a nice extra bonus. I'm going to put that to the side. I'm not actually going to attach this one anymore. This is going to have a picture at the end. But other than that, there's not really a lot to talk about. Here are the energy parts then that most Iron Man figures come with. So you get a pair of small ones that attach to his hands. So I'll show you that right now. So you get the one with the peg, and this one has a hole in it, and then you just apply it like so, and it looks pretty solid. So this orange color is, I believe, unique to this one again. It might have been used in an old Iron Man figure, but it hasn't been used on Mk-85 before. So you get a pair of those, then you get a long pair, which again, same sort of application process, and then you get a pair that are used for his feet, and these have the pegs already at the end, so you can't mix them up. Those just apply to the end of his feet, and I'll show you that later on. And then finally, the one other big difference with this figure is, of course, the heads. So you can see the Tony Stark head right here, which I'll go into more detail soon, and then you get an Iron Man mask head as well. So this has the cosmetic paint job difference that I was talking about, with a bit of a worn look to it. It's not damaged, which I think would have been really, really cool. Instead of just having a dirty paint job, I would have really liked this figure to have some actual damage, like cracks and broken pieces on them, but maybe that's just asking too much. But anyway, it's already attached to the neck joint, so you have to take the neck off, which, by the way, is a pain. It can actually be a literal pain and make your hands quite sore, but it really depends on how tight or loose your figure is going to be. But you get the Iron Man head anyway. Otherwise, yeah, this is the same as the Mk-85 that came out last year, but just new color. Then going on to the figure itself. So coming on to the figure itself, and I'll talk about the refocuser again in a moment. So here's the Tony Stark head. I'm going to get out of the way. I'm not a big fan of this head. In some angles, it might look okay, and it might resemble Robert Downey Jr. if that was the point, which I, fully sure it is. But I'm just not really sold on this head sculpt. You can probably get third-party heads, and I'll show you one in the picture right now and side by side later. But I'm just not a big fan of this head sculpt. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I can see where they're going with it. I can see the eyes kind of have that mascara look that Robert Downey Jr. has, and the big eyes that he has as well. But I don't know. Overall, to cut the long story short, overall, I'm not that sold on this head sculpt. But anyway, you get the head sculpt, and then you get the neck, which has the skin tone on there as well, and then part of the armor. And then moving down, so overall, this figure is basically Mk-85, just a new paint job. So instead of the brighter reds and the brighter yellows, this is more of a duller red, a more Dr. Pepper red, and then a duller gold with some cosmetic paint job, kind of give it a more of a dirty, grimy look. Again, it's not damaged. I would have really liked if they did some actual damage molding and sculpting onto this figure, so broken parts here and there would have been super cool and maybe differentiated this a lot more compared to the original Mk-85. But overall, it's just a repaint of the Mk-85, and if you missed out on a Mk-85, then I can understand why you'd be going gaga over this. But yeah, for me, I would just prefer a lot more damage going on. I mean, you can kind of see a bit of extra paintwork happening here with the silver kind of chipped effect, but it's still not a huge difference. You know, the sculpt is the same. Yeah, like I said, mostly just the color. Even the chest bit is, you know, a duller blue compared to the brighter blue that the last year's figure had. But yeah, this is how the figure goes. This is where the refocuser plugs into, just like the Mk-85. You take this bit out here, which is, you know, usually not already applied, but I've done it for this sake. And then you just plug it in, which I'll show you in just a second. Exact same thing as original Mk-85, so you can use the refocuser for that. But let's go through the articulation, which by the way is the same as the Mk-85 from last year as well. So the head goes down a little bit like so. It's a bit tight for my one, so it might not go down for me as much, but for you it might be a bit different. Looks up, and then side to side as well, so a bit tight on this side. But otherwise, yeah, so the heads come off quite easily for me. That's actually not a bad thing, because yeah, before, when I was playing around with it, it was very painful to get the neck detached. So I'm going to leave that loose for now. Arms up and down, go all the way around. The arms and articulation overall for Iron Man figures are actually really amazing. You know, you'd think you won't get a lot of articulation for this guy, but yeah, Iron Man figures from S.H.Figuarts are, you know, super good articulation in general. That's the arms. Then the torso, left and right, crunching like so. You do get that gap that always happens with Iron Man figures at the back. You got the twists, the lower waist. The legs do pull down like so. So show you that again. Pulls down and then up for extra range of motion. Kick back. It was very nice. Splits is not so great, but it's, you know, that's not too bad, that bit. Twist over here. And then the knee, like so. And then the ankle. For the feet are die cast, so you can feel that with the cold touch as well. And then the toe. Especially with the refocuser attached, having die cast feet really helps, because otherwise he'll just topple over. He can sometimes be a little bit loose at the waist when he's got the refocuser attached, but generally he's been okay for me so far. But that's the articulation. Like I said, exactly the same as a Mk-85 prior, which is not a bad thing. Like I said, he can get into really cool dynamic poses quite easily, given that he's you know, an armored suit. You wouldn't really expect that so much with from other manufacturers. Now then, let's switch the head to the Iron Man mask. So you've got to pull it out at the neck. Like I said before a couple of times, it can be quite painful to remove the neck. So hopefully it will be easy for you. If not, just keep trying, and then yeah, it should be okay. Then you plug in the other one. Try and get that in a bit neatly. I feel it's in, but it may not be. But let's just deal with it as it is. But anyway, that looks pretty good overall. The red looks a bit different, but not too different at the same time. It's fine really. Maybe I'm just reading into it too much. But yeah, it looks nice with the Iron Man sculpt. Way better with the Iron Man mask versus the Tony Stark, Tony Hawk, whatever you want to call it. This head sculpt, I'm just not sold on this. I really am not. Sorry. But yeah, it looks really cool with the actual mask head applied. So let's get the refocuser attached. So you can either attach this first and then attach these parts, or you can attach you know, this first and then the parts. It's up to you how you want to do it. What I'm going to do actually is I'm going to show you how to do these extra bits, then I'll attach him. So what you've got here are 3 really tiny little bits that you can easily lose. These are already done here. So I'm going to show you for this one. So you got to dig your nail in and then take them out. I suggest once you do them, you take them, these little tiny parts, and you put them in a bag, a Ziploc bag or something, and don't lose them, because yeah, especially this one, it's going to fly off very easily and you will probably lose it. So hopefully, yeah, just don't lose them. Then you just grab this. Like I said, you can't put this into that because the sizing of the peg is different. Plug them in like so. And then the final one. And that's basically it. So like I said, you can do these first, or you can attach the actual whole piece to the figure first. Then you got to line it up so. And try and get a snug fit. And there you go. That's Iron Man Mark 85 with the refocuser attached. Sometimes it does come off, but I think it's just because I don't always put it on in a snug fit, but it looks okay for now. But yeah, it looks very, very cool with the refocuser attached to it, and plus the effect parts coming out as well, which looks super cool. I think it looks very, very, very cool. And then you can swap the hands as well. So I'm going to take this back off just in case it flies off everywhere. Remember, try not to lose those little slots there because they can be a pain to find otherwise. Then let's change this for the blade arm, the energy blade. Iron Man figures can sometimes be a little bit slippery as well because of the die cast part and how smooth he is. So that's the energy blade attached, which looks pretty cool as well. So you can attach the energy blade and the refocuser and just make him kind of go like full on crazy with everything coming out. And that's it really. I'm not going to do this shield because it doesn't look that good. But that's pretty much how the Iron Man figure works. I was going to show you the foot blast. So I'll do that. So you get the hole at the bottom right there. And you just plug that in like so. Pretty simple. So that's the Iron Man Mark 85 Final Battle Edition. What I'm going to do very swiftly is bring out the one from last year. Okay, so here's the Mark 85 from last year. Now this actually has the third party head. It's not an official head sculpt. I had to buy this separately. Now you can kind of see the difference. So let me bring out Tony Stark here, the official one. So official one in my left hand and then a third party one in my right hand. Now neither is exact to Tony Stark. It's, you know, there's work to be done on both of them. But for me, I do prefer the one on the right. That said, the one on the right does cost, you know, a bit more than just, you know, a few pounds or a few dollars, whatever. So yeah, you kind of pay for what you get with this one. But you can see what I meant by them being the exact same figure in terms of mold and sculpt. Just one's darker with a dirtier paint job, and this one's using a more bright red. So I kind of call this, or refer to this one as a Coca-Cola red and Dr. Pepper red. So it's really up to you which one you think is the better looking one, or which one you prefer in general. For me, I think I will go with the original Mark 85, but some of these parts are very cool. The refocuser is a very cool part, which I did mention to before, and I'll just show you that right now too. So you just take the little back piece off, and then you can apply it onto this Iron Man figure as well. Let's raise his arm up a bit. So it's the exact same method. There's nothing different about this, and there you go. Looks pretty good. With this head, I can actually use this head on the damaged or Final Battle Edition as well. So that's pretty cool too. Like I said, same figure. But overall, that's the differences, or lack of differences, between the Mark 85 Final Battle Edition and the one from last year. So it's still just another Iron Man Mark 85 repaint figure. Now, if you didn't get last year's one, which I've got standing right there, and you can afford this one and it's still at retail price, then yeah, by all means go for it. If you don't have any Iron Man S.H.Figuarts figures, then of course go for it. But if you do have last year's one, I don't know, maybe you're better off saving your money and just buying something else. You know, or maybe you just like the parts, like this energy blade, you know, quite a lot, that you really, really want to get it. I just feel a little bit that, you know, as good as the S.H.Figuarts Iron Man figures are, they are excellent. They're going too far with the whole, you know, making so many versions of it with different parts, especially the same figure with different parts. Now this is just another example of Iron Man Mark 85. You had the previous Mark, which number I can't remember, which had 3 versions of the figure with 3 different sets of parts with it, and in order to get every part you needed all 3 figures, and that's crazy talk. It's like DLC for figures, and I know people do that, and I know manufacturers take advantage of it, but they do need to stop at some point. So with S.H.Figuarts, it'd be great if they just did a catch-all, you know, one time just did a deluxe version that included, you know, the best paint job, you know, all the optional parts and all the cool stuff all in one deluxe package, and called it a day. That would be my ideal wish one day in the future. But for this particular figure, you know, as good as it is as well, I think they could have done a lot better with it, especially when I alluded to doing, say, a damaged mask, damaged kind of armor on the leg or the chest area, wherever it was. It's just something that they could have really, really improved on and made it as a unique selling point for this particular version of the figure. I believe, you know, Marvel Legends do something like that with the damaged armor. So why not with these guys? Probably because a damaged version might come sometime in the future. Who knows? But still, S.H.Figuarts Iron Man figures are good. That I can't hate on it. It's still a good figure. I just don't enjoy the practices too much on the way they kind of sell these figures now. That said, yeah, still a good figure. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, check out the other one for the previous Mk-85, and I'll cover Captain America when that comes out, and of course Spider-Man and Rescue, I believe. So stay safe out there, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.